Thank you, everybody. And again, my name is Jeff Powell, and I'm with CASO Document Management. Next to me, this handsome gentleman is Paul Owens from Digitech, who's been kind enough to join us and present the new version R82 of PaperVision and give you a rundown on some of the new features and functionalities. So, quick agenda, the introductions kind of hit that. PaperVision R82, what's new, some of the new look and feel. There's two different viewers that you can use with the system, and we'll go over those in the demo, and then we'll go to question and answer session. So, why document management? The industry statistics show that for every dollar you invest in document management, you get a 6-time return. You'll actually get back $6.12 for every dollar that you invest. I have one school district that just ran some numbers, and they felt that their investment last year had a return on their investment of $1 million, and they're right at that 6-to-1 ratio. So that was just in the first year. So very dramatic savings that you get from the investment in document management. So why would you do it? You don't want to waste money. You want to save and make money. So how do we go about doing this is by digitizing the systems and making everything run smoother. So what are the new features in R82? There's a completely new viewer. It has a ribbon style interface. PaperVision now supports thumbnails. Annotations now show on the thumbnails. There's an index manager, annotations, and other windows that now can be opened and closed and pinned and moved or docked. Most of the right-click functionality that was in the previous versions of PaperVision are now on the toolbar. You have enhanced annotation tools. There's a completely new look to the home page in R82 beta, which can also be used now. It's available and ready to roll out, so you can either use the existing home page that you've been using in the past, or you can go to the new home page. Key areas such as projects, e-forms, destruction lists, recycle bin, downloads, and administration are now accessed via pull-down menus on the new home page. And there's a new favorites area for frequently accessed projects, which is pretty cool. So with that, I'm going to switch over and make Paul the presenter and let him run you through the demo on R82. Did that come through? There we go. Thanks, Paul.
And there we go. So now then, thank you, Jeff. We'll go ahead. We're just going to jump right in. And I'm going to log into PaperVision. This is with the home page that, as it has been for a number of years now, I'm going to log on as the administrator. And while that is logging in, I will go ahead and log into the, oh, there we go. Logged on as the administrator. You can see my projects on the left, my user settings and all that. If I logged into the new interface, now, let me back up a little bit. There is a lot that has been changed in R82 from R81. And instead of hitting you with a fire hose, we're just going to hit you with a garden hose of new stuff. So like I said, this looks and works exactly the same as before. Now then, if I go out and open up do a search, I will get a result set that looks exactly like it did before. If I come out and double click on one of those, this is where the changes start to happen. Now you'll see here that this is the new viewer interface, the new web assistant. Now this will work on any Windows PC, and it is compatible with Internet Explorer, Safari, Chrome, or Firefox as far as browsers go. So pretty much everything that's out there, this will work on as far as the browsers go. Now you'll see here that I have a completely different look. I have my indexing showing up here, and as Jeff mentioned, I can dock that or undock it, so I don't have to have it showing. I can actually choose what I want to show, and I can customize this look. I have the ability to do my thumbnails are now, I'm saying, sorry, my annotations, or the annotation tool is now here. So I can actually pin that so it shows all the time, or unpin it so it goes away until I go hover over it. Those are the parts of the customizations that we were talking about. He mentioned some of the new customization tools. We have the same things we had before, the ability to redact. I can grab the tool and come over here and redact that fake social security number, and I can make it whatever color I want it to be. I've got it now where it shows through, but I can just right click on this and go to my properties and change what color I want it to be, the style I want it to be, and so forth and so on. I can make all of that happen right there. One of the things that's also brand new is we have the ability to do custom annotations, basically rubber stamps. So for example, I've got one created here that I can drag and I can pull over here. And if I wanted to make it look like I signed this document, I can pull that in down right there, let go, and you'll see that it looks like that's my signature. And all I did was sign a piece of paper, scan it, and then attach it to this. And to do that, it's very simple. We go here, you'll see there's my image, and there's what I called it. And if I wanted to add another one, I would just hit add. I would put in what I wanted to call it, and then put in that image path and name. So just that easily, I can have my signature right there on this document. So that is not a legal signature. It would be great if you're just approving a document and you want somebody to put on there and you read it. There is a legal signature that can be applied to digital images. It is down here now in this corner. So I can come in now and add a signature, and this is a little different thing. So if I wanted to approve this, I could just mark it approved, and I can actually require a secondary authentication, which I can then sign, and then I can pull it up here and I can mark it right there, approved. And now then that will actually burn that approval into the image, and there it is. That also turns on non-repudiation, which means if anybody tried to come in here and remove this data from the database, and the data that's actually in there is who signed it, what PC I signed it from, all of the information in the database regarding this signature. If anybody went into that database and tried to change it, that green checkbox that's right here in the bottom left would turn to a big red X. The same thing would happen if somebody somehow got into the system and tried to remove this from the physical image. You would know that immediately that it was changed. So I'm working left to right, indexing. So I needed to change an index here. I could come in here and say I change it here, and say yes, this whatever the index fields are. Once I do that, I save them, and I've just updated that index field very easily right from here. If there is the document that I can see, if there was full text associated with this document, I can look at the text underneath it. I can also search by full text. I can show you that on a different document. I have here, you'll see that now have annotations that show up on my thumbnail. This would be considered an annotation. And I can have text notes. Now, text notes can come in handy because I could say on here, right here, that do not hire, FELON, and hit add. Now, that is a text note that's now attached to this document. And then I could come back over here with my text box and put up here, do not hire, and make that big enough to where you could make it where it really wasn't subtle. Let me grab it here. There we go. Make it big enough where you could see it. Okay, that's a little bit of an exaggeration. Once again, right click on this, and you can go to properties, and you can set what you want your font to be. What the size is. I've got it at 100. I probably should drop it down to about 60. And you see I made it, that really changed it up there because I didn't put in 60, I put 6. So I can put in, there's 97, there's 87, there's 56. Maybe that's more of a reasonable size to do, because now I can come up there and do this and make it look like it should. And so make it whatever size you need to be. Now it looks like a Post-it note. So once again, if I have the rights to, I can look under that Post-it note Or if I were to, right now, if I were to print this, it would look just like this. This is the same functionality that we had with the annotations prior. So on this screen alone, you'll see that we've got it completely laid out differently. And we have the text notes, which, and you can, once again, you can pin them open, like I have the thumbnails pinned open. See, now the thumbnails are gone. Now that I can pull them back up and I can pin them to this screen. So you can customize how this looks. Now then, as far as the ribbon that Jeff mentioned, you already saw me use the save button to save when I altered index values and save. I can scan directly into PaperVision or Image Silo from here, and you can scan from a scanner. You can scan new documents. You can, all that can happen. Print, add a new document. So if you've got a copier that you've gone out and scan something out to a folder, this is the new add button. So I can add a document just that easily. If this was a Word document and I had the rights to open this and it's in Word, then I could open it in its native application. I can email it if I have the rights to email. Save as is used to be called export. So if I hit save and I have the rights to do it, I can pick where I want to save this document and what format I want it to be saved in. Typically, that's probably going to be PDF, and where I want to write it, and I can save that document out to my desktop or to a folder or whatever. So that is, but it's now called save as instead of export. The document navigation is the same. You have folders that will take you from document to document. And you have, and you can see I can just step through these, go from document to document. I can go forward and back. First of the documents, the last document, all of that. If this was a multiple page document, I navigate my pages here. That's very similar to what it was before. Rotate, fit to width and height. Once again, fit it to height, fit it to width, fit it to the window. Those are all like it was before, but now then it's here on a nice icon with the words under it. So if you're new to the system, you can tell what the button actually means. I already showed the show annotate. If this document had, if this project had workflow, I could view the workflow status and create workflow instance from here. And another thing that we can do is if we were to scan a document in and wanted to index it, we can index it immediately, or we can mark it pending and come back in and index it later. That's what this button is for. So I know that I'm going through and telling you what all of these buttons are, which is not the best way to demonstrate a program, but I'm really wanting to show you where things are now as opposed to where they were in R81, and the only way to really do that is to actually go through and show you. Now then, if I wanted to check this document out, say we talked earlier if this was a Word document, and I wanted to check it out, I could check it out, and then if it was a Word document, I could edit it if I had the rights to do so, and then I could check it back in, and my version history would kick in, and I would see everything that had happened to this document. Now then, if I look at the history here, it was only imported. So that's all that's ever happened to this document, and there's only one version. So that's very easy to do. Share document. In R81, this was called document grant. You saw where I could, back here, where I could actually email the document. So if I hit email, it would launch my outlet, it would let me say how I wanted to go out and whether I wanted to include or not include the annotations, and launch my Outlook and let me email it out. But what if that file was too large to email? That is where, say it's a contract or a student record or a medical file, any of the above, that's a really large file, and a lot of people have limited size to what the file they can attach to an email. Well, with a document grant, I can share this document, which allows me to put up an expiration date, and I can put a password on here, and I can say, okay, and yep, I want to do that. Now then, this is made a grant. So what I do now is I copy that to the clipboard, and I have it copied to the clipboard. And if I bring up my email, give me a second, I'll bring up an email, because one of the things that Jeff also mentioned was the ability to have two different views, two different software viewers. I'm going to hit a new email. There we go. And I'm going to put that, I'm going to just paste that link in there, and I'm going to send it to me. and we'll call it the share, and I'll send it and I'll get that email in a second. And I'll show you what it would look like with the other viewer. In fact, I've already received it. So let's just go ahead and look at it now. So if I pull up this document, there's that link. If I click on this, what it's going to click to follow link, there, I just clicked it. It's actually going to ask me for that password that I put on it, and I put an easy one so I could remember it. And then it will actually launch that document with the browser-based viewer. Now you'll see the browser-based viewer looks a lot, it just has a lot less functionality, because basically the person that got this link and followed this document can only print it. That's all they can do to it. They can, once again, they can make it wider so they can read it, taller, whatever they have to do, rotate it. But basically the options are just running it. And now this is part of the way the browser-based viewer would work, but with restricted access. So we'll look at that some more in a second. So I'm going to get rid of that, and we'll get rid of that. We'll come back here to our Digitech. So if I open that document again, which is probably right here, and I go back to I can then look at my security audit, and my security audit will show everything that has happened. So you see that I viewed it today. I then did a document grant, and I am viewing it again. Actually, the public user views it. That means that whoever I sent it to has actually seen it, and it will show the IP address from which they look at that document. So, and then once again, if you needed a report of this, you can actually generate a report right here. You can print it out. You can export it, and you can export it to like an Excel spreadsheet and do reports for access. That same tool can be used for generating HIPAA reports for a specific document, or an administrator can do a report for everybody. So once again, other things we have up here, we just looked at the security audit. Associated documents, this is not set up in this project, but what that would be is, say you were in purchasing and you had a PO on the screen, and you'd retrieve the PO, and you wanted to see from the AP project, did we get an invoice or a delivery ticket, or has a check been cut for this PO? You could hit associated documents, and on your screen, you would get hit lists from all those other documents, so you wouldn't have to leave the screen. So it's a very handy tool to implement, and it's built in to PaperVision and Image Silo. Also built into PaperVision and Image Silo are records retention and destruction. So I can actually get to that here now. Before, I would have had to right-click on it and look at things. Now it's all right here. Source file information, settings, these are things that can be customized at the desktop. We have the thumbnails going over here. I am showing 5 thumbnails at a time. This will scale the thumbnails depending on how much screen real estate you have. So if I set it to 10, it would cut that thumbnail size in half. If I set it to 2, it would make it as big as that space allowed, and I can make the space bigger. So these are some of the things that we can do. We can control, set up hotkeys, printing, workflow options. So all of these things are at the command of the user, and now they're under the settings tab under edit. So this was all in the last version, but now it's just put in together at one spot, easy to get to. The other thing that we can do with this that is easy is, you'll see here that I've got the ability to insert before, insert after, remove pages. Well, in R81, I would right-click on this document and check it out. And then after I check it out, I could do all of this. Well, now then, if I check out this document, yep, there it is. You'll see that these become active. So I can now scan into this document, either before or after this page, or I can insert. So if I had if I'd scanned a copier and put it out to my desktop, I could add that page to this file. I could also rearrange pages. Now, move pages is grayed out because I only have one page in this document. So that tells me right down here that this is page 1 of 1. So once again, it's a little bit different, but it's actually easier to find because it tells you right here on this ribbon. The third tab is you can display 1 or 2 pages. Now, I only have 1 page in this document. I should change to a multi-page. But if I said display 2 pages at once, it would move this page over and open the next page right here. My desktop, once again, I have indexing, thumbnails, signatures, and text notes. I've got them maximized across the top. I've got my signatures down here. This is the way I have it set up. You can set this up as you wish. So these are all the things that we have here. Up here we have up here being able to save documents, print. We have these shortcuts up here, save as, and email. So once again, is instead of having to go back to the home to get to these regular functions, save, print, save as, which would be export, or email, I can just do that right from here. So from any of these screens, I can do that. So it makes it a little bit more user friendly. Now then, this is the new viewer. One of the things that I will pull up, give me just a second here, I'll close out of there. I will come over here and I'll just log into Image Silo, which will look the same too. If you are looking at, probably should type that right. If you notice, computers have no sense of humor. All right, and we'll pull this up and we'll pull up a project. I'll just pull up one here, retrieve a document, pull up a document. Now this is the browser-based viewer that Jeff mentioned. This will work on any piece of hardware that has Internet Explorer, Safari, Chrome, or Firefox on it. This is the way that we're going with all the viewing as we develop on, because we're trying to get away from having to have the web assistant running down here on a Windows platform, and everything will be the same. Now, this is close to full function. We can add documents, we can print documents, we can go through and check them out, we can email them, we can share them, we can sign them, do the annotations, we can look at the annotations. We can't create the annotations yet. That's one of the things that the browser-based viewer won't do. The other thing that the browser-based viewer won't do at this time is let you scan. Now then, if you have this open on your iPhone or your iPad or a Kindle Fire, something with a camera in it, you can actually use that camera to scan a document or to take a picture and upload it. That you can do from here, but actually connecting a physical scanner to the browser-based viewer, that's still in development. But once again, it's very handy if you're in the field and you're on your Wi-Fi on the field and you have your iPad in your hand. You can retrieve your documents. You can actually go in and alter index values, so you could approve a document right from here just by altering the index values, that sort of thing. So we have this built in. So that is the way that the browser-based viewer works. And as you'll see that in style, it's looking very much like the PaperVision viewer. Now then, Jeff also mentioned that we have a new home page. Because we thought that there were enough changes in the viewer for people to learn, we didn't want to hit you, as I said before, with the fire hose. So this is in the viewer as it stands now, the R82. There are sites. If you're in Image Silo, there is a beta.imagesilo.com. If you're in PaperVision, there is a PaperVision beta, where we will be going to probably, we're in release 82 now, probably about release 84, we will make this view the default homepage. So you see, I come in, it looks different, it's more contemporary. I put in my username and password, I click login, and it's going to bring me to a new landing spot that is totally different. We figured one totally different thing at a time was probably easier to adjust. Now then, you'll see here on my projects, I have a lot of projects in that. I have over 100 here. Most people wouldn't have that many, but you can minimize this. And you see there my work steps. That's all my workflow that I have access to. They're all the electronic forms to which I have access. And the destruction list, so if I had anything that had met its retention schedules and could be destroyed, then I could actually open this up and make the final thing. Jeff also mentioned a favorite projects. You can also have favorite e-forms, so you can customize this entire front end to be help make you more productive. That's the goal of it. Now, he mentioned on drop downs, if you are an administrator, the administrator controls are over here. So you can see, once again, I can get to projects, work steps. I can even get to the recycle bin from here. I don't have the recycle bin showing down here, but I can do that. The downloads, this would be like the web assistant, manuals, custom code engines, the PaperVision tools, both 32-bit and 62-bit versions, and the user's guide are all over here now. If I go back to here, this is also how I get into the admin console. So once I go to the admin console, right now it looks exactly like it does whether you're in PaperVision or Image Silo. With this one too. Once again, we're going to be doing different releases, more releases probably every 6 months or so. and that is going to, we're going to roll these things out so we don't actually drown you. On this side, one of the things that's different is the advanced search. This in R81 was called global search. So I can put in a word there and I can pick what I want to look for. I can even come over here and do a quick search of the index fields, a quick search of or the advanced search. So I have that going on. I can hit this, so I can pick all of that. You can see here, I'm logged on as the default administrator. And as the default administrator, this is where I can go in to log out. I can change my password if I'm allowed to do so. I can look at the user options. This used to be on the left-hand side of the screen. Now you can see I can get all to it here. That's where I actually go in and set up that digital signature where I said approved and it stamped it right into the image. So that is all here. Migration jobs. I don't know if any of you have used migration, but I can do a result set and migrate it out of the system. Actually, it doesn't migrate it out. It takes the copy and puts it to a target, so you can write it out to another application if you need to. My notifications also get to advanced search from here. And you see, once again, if I'm setting up my advanced search, I can say, look for check number in any number of projects. So if I come down here to accounts payable, I can look for my check number. So these are the advanced searches that I've set up. So I can look through, if I come here, and I've got an advanced search said check number, and if I come over here and let's look for check number 1, and let's do that search, it will actually go out there and search those projects to find check number 1. And I found, and so this is where I found it. I found it actually in AP. If it had been in multiples, I would have had multiple hits. So this is where we're going with the look. You'll see up here, it's the ribbon, upload, scan, save, all of this. So it's easier to put more things on here. This is where we're going with the product. Right now, we're going to be here. Unless you saw on to the beta. Now you'll see it at the top of my screen. I have a PaperVision and a PaperVision beta and an image silo and an image silo beta. So when you upgrade to R82, you can create a separate beta site in PaperVision, or if you go into image silo, if you log into image silo, let me log out again. There it is. There it is. You can get to the beta site right from your login screen. In image silo. So if you want to play with the new stuff, just kind of get used to it. It's out there and available to you. Now then, Jeff, anything else we need to?
Would you if you have time, could you do a brief introduction to the eForm product, because a lot of people have not seen that yet?
Oh, sure. Give me a second. Let me get out of here. I got out of there.
You don't need to go into huge depth, but I want to make sure that everybody knows that the eForm product exists, and I've got a lot of clients that are now interested in moving into eForms.
Okay.
One of the things I want to stress to all the audience is that the PaperVision eForms is a built-in component of PaperVision, but separately licensed. So the great thing to me is that this is not a bolted-in functionality. This is actually true functionality built right into PaperVision. So when upgrades happen to PaperVision, they also happen to the eForms. So it's a wonderful tool. eForms cuts down tremendously on the paper and is a great lead-in then to work into a solution where you're actually moving into workflow. So Paul, that's kind of my preamble.
Okay. Well, you can see here, I have 32 eForms built. The nice thing about the eForms module is it's unlimited eForms and unlimited submissions. So we have all the regular things, drop downs, radio buttons, boilerplate stuff, text boxes. I can come down here. I can actually electronically sign this document. I can attach files, kind of important if somebody's applying for a job. I can even put a captcha code on here, because one of the things that we let you do is actually publish this form to your intranet or even your internet. So if you had your internet site up there and it said apply here, clicking that button could launch this form. That does not require a PaperVision license. So it's unlimited users can actually get to these forms to fill them out initially. Now then, if you want them to be authenticated before you do that, For example, maybe I want to put this form on my intranet site, and so the person has to be connected and validated by my intranet before they get on here. Maybe I want them to actually be an employee and have a access to PaperVision. So if I get to the form from here, that is actually, I'm actually logged in and authenticated by PaperVision. I can see this is an extended leave form. Some of the things we can make it do. This one was actually set up for a company in Australia. That's why it says T4 instead of Social Security number. When I put my T4 number in and tab out, you see it brought all that data in for me. So we can do those sort of things. We have other things that we can do in here. For example, if you have a travel voucher, we can make it do math. So if I do 30 and 30, that better be 60 all the way down, and it is. So that's kind of good. We can do very simple ones like that bank deposit. We can do very complex forms with lots of data being captured. And the nice thing about this is that yes, Jeff and his team can build these forms for you, but we give you the ability to go out and build your own forms. So if I go into eForms definitions, if I go into that direct deposit form, for example, as easy as that one was, it's loading the definition. There is that form. We give you this toolbox. And so if I wanted to add another field down here, a text box, I could just drag it over and drop it here and put it where I want it. Come over here and move it around pixel by pixel, because I'm mouse impaired, that really doesn't line up. So if I look at that one, the left of that is 9. The left on this one is set at, well, I got it right. It is actually set to 9. That's unusual. I should go buy a lottery ticket. So once again, I can tell it what it's doing. So it's just this easy. Now then, what that toolbox just did is wrote this code for me. It wrote this section of the code. So if you've got somebody that can do XML coding, well, you can do it there. I am not one of those people, so I do this. Now, another thing that we can do that makes it even simpler, let me get out of here, and then this will wrap up this portion of it unless there's a question. This extended leave form, I'll just pull that one up. You can see that this was actually a paper form. And all we did was digitize the paper form and then bring it and put it in as a background. And then if I want to put in the employee name there, I just go back to my toolbox and I just grab that and pull it over here and put it where I want it and size it and scale it the way that it needs to be scaled. And I just converted a paper form to an electronic form. I come over here and tell it that that is the employee name. So it's that easy to build electronic forms. Now, we have all of these controls over here. The capture code, as we mentioned, checkboxes, drop-down lists. You can see when we talk about a drop-down list, we're talking about this, a drop-down list, a checkbox. You can have multiple checkboxes, radio buttons, pick one of these, left or right, or ambidextrous, pick one. So these are all things that are built into the product. And as Jeff mentioned, this is just another module. It's actually installed with PaperVision when it's installed. It's just licensed separately. So Jeff, is that what you had in mind?
That is exactly what I had in mind. I'm going to open this up now for questions, Paul, but I'm going to leave your screen up for now. Let me unmute everybody. So for some reason, some of these I can't unmute. Okay, they must be self-muted. So did you want to say something?
Well, yeah, they would have had to
muted.
Sorry, I think I muted you by accident.
Oh, you there?
Anyway.
What question? Jeff, can you hear me?
Unmuted.
I'm having trouble with this muting thing. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, I can. So if anybody has questions, where I wanted to focus again somewhat on the e-form for the municipal clients that we have online is that this is a great place for you to put requests for information. You can publicly put a format on public hosting, so somebody could be a request for information. They could be submitting a permit request for municipal organizations. So if somebody wants to submit a building permit, they can do that with an e-form, goes right into PaperVision, can go into workflow. Lots of ways that that can be used for school districts. I've got one school district that they shocked me with the number, but they have 5,000 requests from different organizations like the dance team and the chess club to do fundraisers, and all of those have to be processed. So they're now moving into electronic forms there. Requisitions, purchase orders, there's just an unlimited number of electronic forms that can be put into play to eliminate the paper forms. So just wanted to make sure that everybody knows that these are available. Simple, Paul's showing one now. There's a YMCA sign-up form that could be on their website. Direct deposit forms, vacation request forms. There's just, again, it's really limited to the amount of time that you have actually to implement them. So with that, are there any questions? I'm not hearing any. So everybody, I believe you've got my contact information. If not, I'll show Paul, I'll show my screen again.
All righty.
And I'll show my screen. Oops, going the wrong way here. And if anybody has any questions, please contact me here. It's Jeff Powell, jeff.powell@queso.com, and I will be more than glad to answer any questions. So feel free to email me or call me with anything that you may want to know, and I will be more than glad to get you additional information. With that, I'm going to thank Paul very much for his time and effort. And if any of you again have questions later on, please email me or call me. And thank you very much. Appreciate your attendance.